Yo, it's centralparkhiphop.com. Huh. Kick it.
Greetings, peace, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Art of Hip Hop podcast. My name is Derek, and today I am joined by my man 3-2,
What up? What's good?
J.EX the Joker,
What's poppin', y'all? Man, rising.
and we have two special guests joining us today. We have Greybeard
Peace.
and Ryan or Deuce.
Peace and blessing.
All right. So, man, I've thanked all of y'all before, but I want to thank y'all formally on the podcast for getting down. In my opinion, you guys all represent some of the best MCing that Denver has to offer. So I just wanted to give you guys all your props before we get started. Real quick, for our two guests, I know 3-2 and J.EX, you guys been rocking before. Most of the listeners have your background information, but Ryan, Greybeard, if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief bio, like information about like where you come from, how long you've been getting down, what your rap style, MC style is, just so people can get briefly acquainted with you. Ryan, how about you?
Absolutely. Once again, peace, everybody. Well, first off, we'll just start with the name, Ryan the Deuce. Very simple, because, running weird moments, people run up on you, tell me, hey, Ryan the Deuce, and it's like, nah, it's just one or the other. Depending on where you know me from, you know me as one or the other. First one is my real name. Second one is the name the streets always called me. I'm originally from Virginia, right outside of D.C., from a town called Woodbridge.
DMV.
Absolutely. I grew up in the midst of all the go-go, Chuck Brown, everything, live instrumentation, big stages, lots of raps or backyard, lots of raps, lots of freestyling, but, always going towards, they just want to be in front of the crowd, live music playing. I grew up in the battle circuit, ciphering. I always wrote raps, probably since like the age of 6. When I was younger, I would have probably just said it was poetry. I called it rap. As I got older, especially once I went to prison, I just took the craft of writing more serious. You know what I'm saying? We all have that moment where it's like we love to do this thing, but like you hit that real space where it's like, oh shit, I think I could really be great at this if I had the opportunity to push it forward. For me, it was just that at the time I was incarcerated, but there I honed who I was. I felt that there was ever a place that you could make people like you. Prison's probably one of the hardest.
Amen.
So yeah, that's been the journey thus far. I'm here now. When I got out of prison, I came to Denver, Aurora area. I've been out here for about 6 years now. Family. I'm in the community. I'm at all the open mics. Now I'm sitting here with you guys.
What's your style? You boom bap, you battle rap, eclectic. What's your style?
I don't know if I would categorize it as that. I mean, for real, like, I don't know if I could put it like that. I mean, of course, I like the term lyricist, but okay. I think that puts you in a box with what you might do artistically. So it's like, I don't know, I'm artistic, I'm informational, I'm very animated, but I come from a battle background, so I'm very aggressive. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's boom bap, because I like to rap on a bunch of different kinds of stuff. But the core thing that's important to me is what's being said.
So I saw you get down, and your style reminded me a whole lot of spoken word, right? But when I listened to, like, I was just listening this morning to Inwardly N-Word, right? That's lyricism right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's lyricism. So, Greybeard, my man. So I got turned on to you with Stay Tuned off of Gloomy and Gray, right?
Yeah, that's
Dude,
right.
Come on, man. I heard that one, and I immediately had to go cop that track and hit you up and be like, yo, I'm a fan. Been loving your style and everything. So please share with us a little bit about your bio.
Thank you, brother. So I'm originally from Los Angeles.
Ah, okay.
So I started doing hip hop out there. I moved to Denver in 2002. Mm-hmm. So my kids didn't have to grow up out there. Been rapping since high school. I graduated in 1990.
Okay.
It's been a long time that I've been rapping. I didn't really fucking like pursue it as a public type thing until probably about 7 years ago.
What clicked?
You know what it was? It was my kids were growing up and like leaving the house and shit. So
Time on your hands.
I got time again, you know what I'm saying? So I just figured, fuck it. This time I'll fucking go for it. And just started fucking doing shows all over the place, you know? And then here we are.
What's your style?
I think any rapper is very hesitant to say what style they are because it kind of puts you in a box. Because I'll rap on anything, you know. I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
people describe it probably more like boom bap type,
Boom bap,
you know,
yeah.
classical type hip hop shit.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So for me, I don't rap. I'm not an MC. I can't rap at all, and I have no problem putting you cats in boxes. For me, boom bap was my jam. That's what I grew up on. In my head, my heart, that's boom bap was it. That's what drew me to you. So I put you in boom bap. That ain't no disrespect to me. That's where my heart lies. So, all right, J.EX, real quick, do you have the information on Coke LaRock? Because we're gonna be coming to him in a hot second.
Yeah.
All right.
I definitely want to say all of us here are MCs.
Correct.
Except you.
Except for me, right? I'm just a
All right, Coke LaRock, you ready?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So again, today's discussion, let me just break down, give a preview of how today's episode is going to go. I'm going to give my opening statement. We're going to talk about the history of the MC. After that, we're going to go into an open comments, the open discussion. We'll get your thoughts on my opening statement. After that, we're going to roll into questions. I got questions for the panel about the art of MCing. After that, we're going to roll into some gems. I want each of you cats to drop some gems on us today. We got our You Should Know segment where you hit us with some facts about hip hop that we may or may not be aware of. And then we're going to get out of here. So that sound cool?
For sure.
All right, here we go. The history of the MC. Let's get into this. We're going to talk about the who, what, when, where, and why. Next episode, if I can get the panel back. If not, maybe we'll try to touch on it today. We're going to talk about the how of MCing. But so for today's opening statement, for the sake of argument, let's just say that Coke LaRock was the first MC. Okay. J.EX, give us a quick bio on Coke LaRock, if you would.
The legendary Coke LaRock is an American rapper from New York City, in the Bronx to be exact, who is sometimes credited as being the first MC in the history of hip-hop. In 2010, he was inducted into the High Times Counterculture Hall of Fame at the annual ceremonies of the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam. I don't even know why that's part of his wiki bio in the overview, but it is.
All
it's
right,
pretty cool.
So technically, it's not true that he's the first MC because griots, bards, toasters, all that stuff goes back basically to the beginning of civilization, right? Like there's always been cats who did what Coke LaRock did. Also, there are other recorded quote unquote raps prior to Coke. You can go back and listen to, they weren't categorized as raps back in the day, but they're raps. If you just listen to them, you can find them. They're out there. But
the Watts Poets is one of them.
Okay, fair enough. But my question is, what actually qualifies as rap? And does rapper equal MC? See, so like would reciting a nursery rhyme over a bongo drum make you an MC? Would that make you a rapper? It might. It depends. It's the context. J.EX, before you say no, all right? But in my book, Coke does get the credit because of the context of what he did and when he did it. And also poorly documented history because like you say, 3-2, who knows what was really happening at these parties? I mean, nobody thought it was going to be anything, so nobody was really taking notes, right? But going back to our working definition of hip hop and what the culture is, an MC, one of our core 4 artists, he has to contribute to the party that's going on around him. So for me, it's okay to go with Coke LaRock because before him, the context for hip hop didn't really exist. Now, as for the vitals, it's the early 70s, it's the South Bronx, it's Coke, he's at Cool Herc parties. And according to LaRock himself, quote, at first I would just call out my friends' names, and that was simply to impress the girls, which is most of the things that MCs do. And truthfully, I wasn't there to rap. I was just playing around. So there you go. That's his brief history. But is he the first rapper, or is he the first MC? And what's the difference? To me, the rapper simply does rap, like the skill itself, right? But the MC incorporates that skill into a performance. And Coke's performances at those parties, it laid the blueprint for all future generations of MCs, for what you cats are still doing today. Not only did he coin some of the classic rap phrases like "you rock, you don't stop," "hotel, motel," he engaged with the crowd. He entertained the crowd. He moved the crowd. And that right there, to me, is the art of MCing. You have to move the crowd. So that's my opening statement. I'd like to get your thoughts and opinions on that. J.EX, I'm coming to you first because you are from the BX. What's Coke's legacy like in the BX, first of all?
In the Bronx itself, he's not from my area, but in the Bronx itself, he a legend, of course. Like any people that we've been talking about that been around since the beginning are considered legends, and they still have somewhat form of respect and status for who they are and what they did and what they contributed and what they done in the culture. So, you know, in the Bronx, that's just how it is when it comes to Coke LaRock. He was just he was just on the whole DJ K Slay 200 Rolling Deep. He was part of that.
Okay.
Saying I'm the first MC, like, man, he killed it. So I mean, he got that respect no matter what. He's a legend.
You or any of your family ever cross paths?
No. My mom and my father were kids at the time when he was MCing as a teenager. And again, they were in different areas. Like he from the West, Coke LaRock and they all in the West Bronx, Sedgwick and all that. I'm more Northwest, a little bit further. I don't think my mom was going. There were already parties in Marble Hill where Kid Capri would be at, you feel me? And then my dad was in the East Bronx, so it was different. It was no, it's a big area, you feel me? So
Got you.
so no.
Okay. 3-2, my main man. Your
What-
thoughts on the differences between MCing, rapping, the history of MCing, your thoughts in general, please.
I think that similar to what you said, rapping is just the act of doing the thing, and then MCing is making it into a performance, incorporating the crowd and things like that. Similar to how, you know, if you street fight, that doesn't make you a boxer, because once you start incorporating technique and you learn breathing and you learn how to be mentally, like bring the mental into the game, or into the boxing ring and things like that, and become a professional at it, then that's when you graduate from a street fighter to a boxer. And so similarly,
It's a good analogy.
anybody who gets on a microphone or gets on a street corner or whatever and says some rhymes can technically be a rapper, but until you get on a stage and move a crowd and bring an entire room's energy where you're the focal point and you're feeding them and they're feeding you, that's when you become an MC, and when you hone your skill and things like that. So I feel like, yeah, Coke LaRock is definitely the blueprint. And yeah, I think that it's kind of like been a steady evolution from there, but from doing the call and response, you know, back then it started off simply, but the things that he was doing was to get the crowd involved in the party and to amplify the energy. And so I feel like that's what we all do now as MCs, just in a more technical sense than what it started as. But I feel like that's the blueprint, and that's the focal point for sure.
Got you. Ryan, my man, your thoughts.
So it's kind of layered for me, because it's like, so we absolutely will bear witness to that. You know, Coke LaRock holds a place, you know, within the pantheon of being, the first to do a particular thing. It's just that, well, first off, 3-2, the analogy you gave was fantastic. When you said it, I thought of Kimbo Slice and I thought of Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
right? Like, we knew Kimbo Slice was a hard hitter, knew that he had what it took to get hit hard, and he could fight, but he wasn't Tyson. He had characteristics of Tyson. And so when we think about the rapper and the MC, knowing that, just as an acronym, rhythm and poetry, you know what I'm saying? So if you know how to just put rhyming words together over a rhythm, and they ain't even got to necessarily rhyme. Prodigy is one of the greatest MCs, and yet he didn't really connect a lot of rhyming bars. You see what I'm saying? And so you don't even necessarily got to rhyme. You just have to be able to have that rhythm and that poetic form. But
That's
then
what I
when we're
was
talking about
saying,
that,
J.EX, about nursery rhymes. I'm sorry to interrupt, Ryan.
no, absolutely. I understood it for sure. And so when we think about Coke Rock, part of the thing for me is that we recognize it in the culture of hip hop, but we know that in what this thing is that led to what this is, it goes back further than that. Mind you, like when you go back and you watch like throwback videos of like Cab Calloway, to know that that wouldn't necessarily be considered hip hop, but he is rapping.
He is rapping.
And his ability to get in front of a crowd and turn up and put on was crazy in the 20s and the 30s, right?
Exactly.
Or I was just, that video, there's a video circulating now, the brothers from the Jubilaires, something like that.
Yeah.
From like the 40s or something.
That's what I mean, it's rap.
Not only is it rap, but then to recognize as a group of them, they essentially like ciphering for real in their own way. And then, I just laughed because I was like, yo, the brother got gold teeth and a scar on his face. You can't tell me this isn't like street shit. You know what I'm saying? But what it means to like be the MC versus the rapper is what brothers was, already, saying prior, is that honed skill that I've taken this thing and I've taken it to the next place. I was in my room, I was writing raps, doing whatever, and now I'm in front of people, and every time I get in front of them, I'm being sharper and I'm engaging and I'm making sure that there's clarity and this conceptual stuff behind it. So that's kind of how I see it.
That is dope, man. I'm so glad you brought up those examples. Like I said, the Lumineers and Cab Calloway. Those were some of the examples that I was thinking of when I'm like, there is recorded rap before Coke Rock. So, Greybeard, my man, your thoughts, please.
So I kind of go by like KRS-One's whole philosophy on it, where a rapper, like anyone could be a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be an MC, you got to bring the culture of hip hop behind it. And like, not only just be talking shit all the time, say something, make sure that there's actually a point or, you're teaching something, or putting, some type of substance behind what you're saying, because words are very powerful.
Sure.
All of us right here are like masters of throwing words around.
Yeah.
So I think, anyone could be a rapper. That's cool. But like, if you don't have the culture behind you, real hip hop heads will kind of see that hole in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there'll be something missing.
Yeah. Well, you said KRS-One, just real quick, if I can go around the table, most influential MC for each one of you. Greybeard, your most influential, your most inspiring MC?
Probably KRS. I mean, that's just like his type of, when he's trying to, like, he has a song about beef. Like that's dope.
Yeah.
I mean, when
entertainment
behind it,
J.EX, your most influential MC?
I can't pick one. Can I get my top 5? Because they all influential at the same.
Go ahead.
Because you hear it in me. Big, Pun, Eminem, Styles, Jada. All influential to me.
3-2?
It's harder. I go through phases, so I'll just say the one that was one of the main catalysts for me is LL Cool J.
Okay. Ryan?
It varies, but as far as like MCs, like seeing people rock out like face to face, it would be Cannabis and my man who's locked up, my man Saddam.
Okay. All right. So the reason I asked that is I'm going back, piggybacking on what Greybeard said about MCs need to have some substance behind them. And it really made, I really started tripping off of I grew up Fat Boys, Houdini, Run DMC, Beastie Boys. And I'm like, was there real substance behind, like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Fat Boys. I mean, come on, man. They was talking about robbing banks to steal people. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. But I'll go back to like the Beastie Boys, Paul Revere, right? Paul Revere, that track. If you listen to that track, everything about it, to me, incorporates, it still works today because all of the essentials are there. It's a great storytelling. It's great wordplay. The music is top notch. But it also laid the blueprint for gangster rap. If you listen to like what they did in there, they're robbing people, they're shooting people. But at the time that it came out, it was just fun, But it did have substance behind it. It did have all of the necessary components to be a classic. But I'm not sure if they were just trying to have fun. In other words, I think that the Beastie Boys are great MCs almost accidentally. All of my early favorites, all of my early favorites are Fat Boy, except for Run DMC. I think Run DMC actually did try to say something when they came out with Hard Times and It's Like That and things like that. But for the most part, back then when it was just coming out, these cats were just having fun, And I think that you can really elevate the art of MCing by having fun. But to Greybeard's point, at some point you do need to have something behind it, because Coke La Rock, all due respect, kind of played out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just simply rhyming for the party won't last. You know what I mean? Jex, you got a point?
Yeah. I think there were just certain moments and points in hip hop that elevated what being an MC is all about since Coke La Rock. Because you look at the history of what the beginning MC was, they were doing just the chants and they do little rhymes and they had the crowd engaged. But when you start seeing MCs really write, it starts with Grandmaster Caz and the treacherous. What was the name? I want to say the Treacherous Four or the Fantastic Four. Yeah, versus the Treacherous Five, and that famous tape. That's when then it was Cool Mo D versus Busy B Starsky, and how Cool Mo D ripped him at Harlem World, and it was like, okay, we got to take that serious, more writing and lyrical. Then you see like KRS, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane. These are moments in hip hop, and people in hip hop have made it the lyrical level in my eyes, where you have people who look up Jay-Z, Biggie. These are people who looked up to these rappers like, oh, we gotta take it seriously. Nas was like, yo, after the Bridge is Over came out, we had to take it serious. He comes out with Illmatic. And then we claim this the MC that we see nowadays. You feel me? So it's just moments like that. And I feel those moments, me and Deuce talk about this all the time. We say, yo, these moments need to happen because they don't happen like that, especially now with lyrical stuff. It's always pushed to the side.
Sure enough. So, Greybeard, did you have a point you were going to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like when the Beastie Boys' first album came out, like we're still defining this whole thing and like still like building it. If you listen to their later albums, they definitely went conscious. Like MCA has like all kinds of like little gems.
Exactly. I mean, at some point you can't just rhyme for the party. You have, if you really want to stick and stay, you got to elevate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, hip hop goes through phases. Like people were wearing the African medallions for a minute, and everything was conscious. And now we're on fucking, bitches showing their pussy and like, just popping pills and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's phases, man. It kind of mirrors the culture and where we're at in society.
I do want to say another thing too. I do want to say one more thing too, and I want to respect the people who are from the West Coast and the South who take the lyrical shit serious. The thing at the time that's not today is that people put their pen to it and they didn't try to replicate New York like the West Coast had. They were fire MCs, corrupt. Q, Quick. These are fire MCs, and there's probably
Cube
way
with
more.
Fire MC.
Fuck it. Freestyle. Are you crazy? No Vaseline?
See,
What?
yeah, maybe 3 albums. Ryan, I want to ask you a question real quick, man.
But what I'm saying, before you go on, but what I'm saying is that they still brought their own style. And nobody does that anymore. Everybody's lazy with it, or they just copy other styles. But like Outkast had their own style of being the best MCs. That's why Andre's up there.
Yeah, Andre's dope. Ryan, you were talking about that point 32 made with the fighting analogy. So I'm gonna ask both of you cats: battle rappers, MCs, or just rappers?
MCs. And really, I think to say that, to just put it in that category, I feel like it takes away from what they do. I feel like, because when you look at battle rap, so the thing I don't like about battle rap, and I'll just start there, and I love it as a culture because I feel like that's the competitive, that's the physical form of this thing that we do with words. I think that the worst part about it is you could write something that could be one of the best things that you've ever said, but you'll only get to use it once.
Yeah, you can't come back with it.
Right, like that's the part for me. But the other side is it speaks to the level of intellect to be able to write that, memorize that, go and use that, and then discard it and move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would say that they're MCs because they're performers, but it's more than that.
3-2.
Yeah, I say that they're MCs. They're just in a different style of MCing from the traditional like solo on a stage in front of a crowd type of situation. And it's interesting because something I've noticed is, and this isn't unanimous, but there quite often you find that battle rappers aren't great performers by themselves. They don't make like great. A lot of them don't make great songs, and they don't when they're in a position to perform in front of a crowd by themselves. They seem out of their element because that's not what they do.
Okay.
But within the context of a battle, they are very much MCs because they're surrounded by people, and the way that they craft their punchlines and the way that they pronounce and they pull off their punchlines. You can't just be monotone and say these lines and expect because half of the way that you win a battle is by the crowd reaction. And so you got to build up those punchlines, and you got to execute those punchlines in a way that's going to make the whole crowd fall out. And so like doing that back to back to back to back and be animated with it and have your own style within a battle rap frame is a very similar thing to having your own style within a regular performance frame. So even though they may not be like the best performers in a traditional stance of being on a stage like that, but when it comes to battling, they are very much MCs because it's very much still performative. It's just that maybe even though they're rapping to a specific person, they're performing their art for everybody.
Gotcha. That's a very good point. Jackson Greybeard, question for you too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ryan. You had a point?
Not just very quickly, just because that is a great point. And in mind, so just because you said that, it's like that becomes the other side of like, so say you are the person, however you do your thing, you everybody starts to recognize like, oh, lyrically, yo, he's really good. He's dope. And so one of the first things that people then begin to ask you is, yo, you want to be in a battle? You trying to battle somebody? And yo, you might even go participate. And I like to do it, but I loved it for many years. But I think that the number one downfall, or the number one thing that you suffer from, if you turn out to be a great lyricist who can make great music, the moment you go and walk into that box, you then start to squeeze that sponge of creativity to punch hard and knock out in competition. You don't squeeze in that way when you go to write music, though. And so the people who then, so it's like, you listen to me at first and it was like, I like you so much, I'd like to see you do this. But then the moment you see me do this, you no longer want to hear this because you've gotten used to this.
Mm-hmm.
So then, you see what I'm saying? So then it's like, how do you become a great performer when you don't make great music because you use the greatest parts of yourself to go and and defend or engage in competitive nature that's not like musical. You see what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. You can get what do they call it in acting, typecast or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get typecast.
Indeed.
J.EX, Greybeard, questions for you two. J.EX, I've seen you get down and go off the dome. Very impressive. How important is it for an MC to be able to go off the dome at a live performance?
Can I also just go back on the battle stuff after I answer this too? Because I battled before and I've been on, like, I've done it. It's very hard. But to answer that question, it's a tool. It could be used to, hype the crowd up. But I'm learning that really, like, your pen game is where it's at. That's it.
Greybeard? How important is that off the dome to an MC?
It's all like different muscles. To freestyle like very well, like you have to be doing that all the time. Like you have to be like popping that shit off all the time. And if you're not, then you're not gonna like you're gonna get murdered. Because there's cats that are like doing that shit all the time. So it's like it's just for my performances, I don't freestyle.
Okay.
I don't. I do my songs. I like to know exactly what I'm gonna say. And that's another reason why I don't freestyle, because I don't know what the fuck is gonna come out my mouth, man. I don't want to, I don't want to say some stupid shit, like that's why I don't really fuck with it. But
I understand. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, big respect to the motherfuckers that can do that, because like it's a whole nother like, and for people that can battle, it's a whole nother like genre within hip hop, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I do want to say something about the freestyle and what the word means in hip hop. From what the OGs like Big Daddy Kane have explained, the freestyle isn't just off the dome. It could be written. A freestyle is something that is with no topic, with you just talking your shit, but you could write it. You just have it in the clip.
That's a good point, because like when you see those
off the
rappers
dome
go
is
up
another
to
talent though, way other talent. Just to not to cut you off, go ahead.
No, that's a good. Thank you for that distinction, because again, I'm not an MC. I don't really know the. I've been watching hip hop my whole life, but that doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about. You see rappers go up to the radio stations and drop these quote unquote freestyles to the beats and stuff like that. But I'm like, they ain't do that off the dome.
No,
that's the distinction. Off the dome.
But you'll hear it in the album later. You hear it in a verse in the album later.
Okay.
Or you might not. You might not. You are correct in the fact that the freestyle is just a random verse, and like that's how I came up in this. Like we would sit around and we would off the dome. Like that was always the way in which like we got the it flowing. Like you get that thing in you turned on. But it was later when like we started to wanted to see like who stood where, like quote unquote in the pecking order on the food chain. Like you had to show with your verses. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, like it had to be kind of long. Like you might have to have like 500 bar verses that you could go into and show everybody like that level of muscle. You know what I'm saying? Because that's another muscle. All right, you might write music. You understand the art of 16 hook bridge, 8 hook close. But then as we elevate and we got to the mixtape era, we started hearing dudes get on beats we never heard, and they might rap 48 bars. And it's like, oh shit, that shit's mad long, but it's like, that shit is fire. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you might not hear that on an album, or you might not hear that somewhere else, or you might hear it somewhere else because it's one of the few verses they could pull out from time to time and show everybody the wow. Like, you see what I mean? Like, oh, y'all want to go, ooh, ah, right quick? Here, I got you. Boom, 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 boom. You see what I mean? And so it has a multifaceted purpose, like the random verse, because we know in hip hop, like as much as I might want to hear you say something conscious or something conceptual or something that gets me turned up and want to party. I also want to hear something from time to time that sounds slick and that's full of bravado, and it makes me want to roll this next J.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
So it's that. you know, just that random thing, you know, that thing, you know, that thing the backpacker keeps in it, the backpacker keeps in the backpack.
Yeah,
yeah.
J.EX, let's move into questions.
All right, let's move into the questions. Okay, so we'll go with Ryan. Is your motivation for picking up the pen and for stepping on stage the same or different? And we'll go around and ask everybody else.
I mean, I think they're the same. For me, it's just, I think about a lot of stuff. You know, I'm very informational driven, but I'm also highly creative. So it's like, if I can read it, learn it, if I can listen to it, learn it, it's going to end up somewhere. If I can look at a thing and be stimulated, you know, or whatever, I'm going to. And so it's always been the same. It's like, I have a thing that I want to explain. And if you allow me to get in front of you to explain it, I'm going to do it.
I want to add just a little background to that question. On one of the early episodes, J.EX said that one of his motivations for even becoming an MC was to shock people. And you can shock people with your performance and you can shock people with your writing. So like you can have that same motivation for both activities, or it might be a different thing. And that was kind of what I was trying to get at with that particular question. But next up, J.EX, who did you want to answer the question next?
We'll just go in the whole circle. I meard, let Greybeard, let the guests go, and then we'll go to three.
Overall, I think the motivation is I fucking love this shit. You know, like I love hip hop. I love the culture. I love creating. But like most of the time, like my motivation for writing another rhyme is like a good beat. Or I'll hear someone's song and I'll be like, damn, that's so dope. And I'll have to, you know, start writing. Jumping on stage, I don't know what the fuck the motivation is for that, man. I just love this shit, you know, like I just love this shit. And I think overall, I think that's what it is. I mean, even if I didn't get any recognition or getting paid from this shit, I would still be doing this. So, I mean,
are you aware of the crowd feedback when you're on stage, or are you in the zone?
Oh no, I'm definitely aware. 'Cause I mean, that's the thing. Like you're up there, you're fucking spitting your rhymes, but like at a point when you got it memorized so good, like you can be thinking about other shit while you're spitting that. And so, you know, you're looking around the crowd and seeing who's with it and who's not. Do I got to go harder? You know, do I got to, you know, like get these people more involved? Like I mean, all this shit is going through your head while your fucking mouth is just spitting shit out. So it's a trip.
Got you. 3-2.
MC2. Yeah.
I would say that my inspiration is probably, like Greybeard said, like just a love for it. And also in terms of writing and everything, it's challenging myself to make dope songs out of concepts that aren't regularly rapped about. Being eclectic, and I feel like a lot of the standard, quote unquote, standard rap topics have been already done. But I feel like we as people we have a lot of intrusive thoughts and random things that we think about on a day-to-day basis that don't get covered in the average hip hop song. So like me, I'll take something random that I think about and I'll be like, yo, what if I made a song about that? And can I make a song about that and have it be dope and have people rock with it and not think that it was corny? So like trying to challenge myself to accomplish all that and kind of be in between the lines of what all the standard, like maybe you could call hip hop cliches of what you normally hear when you hear people rap about stuff. And then as far as the stage performance, it's the same thing. Like I love it. Like it's the one place where I feel the most like myself outside of when I'm just in my own solitude. So when I get on stage and as soon as the beat drops and I just feel this whole, like all of the energy and emotion wash over my entire body. And I feel like I am whole, like that's where I am the most myself. And watching people react to like these songs that I've written about my intrusive thoughts and hearing them like connect with them and be like, oh shit, and nod to each other like, oh, this song is crazy, but it's also kind of dope at the same time. And you know, just getting people to vibe with what you're talking about. It's an addicting feeling when you figure out how to do it well. You get addicted to that shit, and you just want to do it more and more. And it, like Greybeard said, like whether accolades or no, I'd still be doing it because that's one of the high points of my entire life. Like even if I'm rocking for 5 people, just the idea of being on stage and rocking and like doing my art and doing my own music, it's
So you sound like a junkie.
guilty.
I'm a microphone fiend. What's the microphone fiend?
Microphone fiend.
Yeah.
What you were saying reminded me of that song that Dre and them had either talking about who you are, what you got, or the place to be. I forgot the name of the track, whatever it was. But you know, like you say, the cliche, everything in most of the topics have been exhausted. So you got to come with it in some other way. Which does lead me to my next question. Creativity comes in many forms. You can be creative with your wordplay. You can be creative with the flow that you use, your punchlines, your subject matter, your delivery style, the performance, all different kinds of ways to be creative. What aspects have you personally focused on developing and why? Right? And 3, 2, let's come back to you.
Definitely the creativity of just again trying to come up with song concepts that I identify with, but also in a way that I could get on stage and not feel like people don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about, or be like, why would you make a song about that, or whatever, but have something where you see people's eyebrows raised like, oh, okay, when he said what the song was about, I was like, where is he, can you even go with this? But then they hear the beat drop and they hear the lyrics and you hear people like, oh, okay, and they identify with some of the stuff I'm saying, and it's like that's what kind of motivates me to keep going, is just to make music for people for the in-between times when they're not thinking about getting money, when they're not thinking about smoking weed, and when they're just like chilling with themselves and some of the random things that they think about, and have songs that they can identify with in those offbeat moments when they're not, you know, so concerned with all the other stuff.
So it's the subject matter primarily is where you've really focused on being creative with.
Yeah, and finding a balancing act between like having stuff lighthearted, but also having stuff with substance and having things that might be socially conscious at the same time. And so finding a balance where it's not all super serious, but it's also not all super goofy at the same time.
Gotcha. Ryan, what areas of creativity have you focused on developing personally?
To keep it real, I mean, everything that's on that list, wordplay, flow, punchline, subject, matter, delivery, performance, that's all it's all important to me. Like all of my favorite artists, I feel like even if they're not on your list as a favorite artist, there's no denying that they're top tier MCs and artists. And so like I've always wrote with like, of course I love it, we all love it, but like for me, like I've never denied the fact that like I want my favorite MCs to be like, yo, he's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be on your list. You know what I mean? And so when I craft, like having wordplay that melds together beautifully, like one of the things I used to hate it when I was just younger and the flow was like how many people would be like, yo, you sound like Eminem. And I'd be like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying though, because one of the things that was important in that, like when I see the word flow, to me, I see clarity. Like it was always important for me that when I'm rapping, you understand every single word. Like there is no, what did he say? I thought like when you walk away, you're going to be like, yo, he can rap his ass off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was always important to me. Like it couldn't just be for me like, yeah, I do it. It has to be like when the conversation is had, my name is in the conversation.
Got you. Dope. Greybeard, for you, creativity, personally, where have you felt like you've really made the most progress?
Man, I've been writing rhymes for a long ass time. And like 3-2 said, man, it's everyone's talked about everything already. So like, I think I try to focus more on like flow. To me, it's syllables, right? You can fit so many syllables within so many bars, you know. And I think for me, like the whole science of it, like breaking it down, like I'll flow like this for a little bit, then I'll switch it up, and I'll come like this with a different style, you know.
Okay.
And like on top of that, you got to be saying like something kind of clever, you know what I'm saying, or like have a like a
Twist on it.
unique twist on what you're saying. So I think like over the years, I mean, like Ryan said, like the whole thing is important. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're missing on any of those things, like I mean, you need to work on that. But yeah, I mean, for me, like I love fucking with word syllables, all that, the science of the whole shit. I love that, man.
So you from LA, right?
Yeah.
So you know this cat, Razcast.
Yeah.
Stop it, man. Stop it. I mean, seriously. Razcast,
Yeah.
man.
He did a show at Bar Red, man, and he's super cool.
You know?
Fucking cool as fuck.
Jex, you got more questions? Or did you have a comment?
I wanted to answer. I'm an MC too.
Okay, you my bad. I can't you check me. You better check me.
Nah, I take the stage present more different energy than writing. I think my writing, because I'm worrying right now, I'm in a writer's block, but I'm trying to get back into the writing stage. I just had a lot going on that just kept me very but the music that's been coming out is still good. But I want to work on more songwriting and just crafting a great song and the emotion to it and the psychology. That's what I'm working on right now, because I've always tried to work on metaphors, you know what I mean, punchlines. I'm more of a punchline person. I always like that. But the flow, delivery, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's two questions important, baby.
Okay. Well, so let me
So let me get the third one.
let me start with you on that third one, because we
Okay.
touched on it a little bit, and I was like, for me personally, I think, you know, like rap battles, we before we started recording, we were touching on Cole and whatnot. Rap battles, they are integral to the art. Like they go back to the beginning of MCing, like you were saying with Busy B and Starsky and all those cats and Kumo D. So I mean, rap battling has been there from the gate. But my
We go back
question
to
is,
slave times when the mama jokes were made.
fair enough. My question is, do you have to be able to battle rap? Do you have to be able to, do you need an opponent to be considered a dope MC?
Of course. I mean, like, I've fucked around with like off the dome freestyle when I was younger. I battled Cold before. Like I was with my friend. I was like, yo, just think of something. I was like, yo, I battle Cold right now. And I just started making bars about why I don't like Cold. It's an opponent, but it's a thing. So yeah, you do need an opponent. You need something to talk about if you're gonna talk about them or it or whatever badly.
Okay.
You feel me? Of what you don't like. So and of course making it, then putting the MC skill part into it is what makes it even better. But you definitely need an opponent. I mean, Cool Mo D would have never did what he did if Busy B Starsky wasn't talking shit. There was always a cause and effect for the shit.
Okay. The reason why I ask is I'm trying to think of, like, you know, famous MCs who you can become a good MC or famous MC without ever having gone through a rap battle. But I'm wondering, as you guys are MCs, would you respect a cat who, I don't even know if I want to open up this can of worms, but
Open it.
all right, because can J. Cole come back, man?
Wow. Yes, he's gonna have to have that conversation. I feel like it's way more deeper than rap. But he's J. Cole. Like if he drops an album and it's fire and it's past all this shit, it's probably, yeah. But it's not like Drake. It's more like, will Drake come back after this? That's the question.
No, that's the answer. 3-2. I'm thinking like, okay, for instance, what I'm trying to think of are like examples of well-respected MCs, you know, in the game, who just rap, who just, who don't engage.
But sometime in that time of their career, they came across a battle. No matter what, even nowadays, like there's somebody who's gonna want to challenge you. There's somebody. I'm one of them people that want to challenge somebody, even if I know I'm a
Will Smith. There we go. Boom. Will Smith. Will Smith never battled anybody. 3-2. Okay, hold up, Jax. I know how you feel. Jack. 3-2. Will Smith. That's my example. Is Will Smith a respected MC? Never had a battle rap. Never battled anybody. Never even engaged in it. Is he a good MC?
I think there was a time where he was definitely like, I think that I wouldn't necessarily say so now, but there was a time when he was in his prime that he definitely was respected from a lot of people in the hip hop community. And I personally feel like there's different facets, and you can be an MC and not have to battle people, but that depends on your target audience, right? Because not everybody's interested in that. And some people just want music that resonates with them, and they don't really care if you're battle tested or not. And so in respect to the J. Cole question, kind of like what I stated before we got on air, was like, the people that go to J. Cole because they resonate with his music and don't care if he's battle tested or not are still going to rock with him. But those who are with J. Cole because they feel like he was always ready for battle, and they latched on to the times that he came out saying that he was ready for battle and things like that. When he did what he did, then they lost respect for him, and a lot of those fans he's lost. But the people that resonate with the tracks that he makes, the music that he makes, that have nothing to do with being in an adversarial situation, a contentious situation, those people are still going to rock with him because they weren't with him for his battle credentials regardless.
Right. Ryan, if you're chilling in the back room, in the green room with Will Smith, does he get your respect?
I mean, it would be phony to act like I didn't, appreciate, what he made as a kid. Like, Nightmare on My Street was one of the scariest songs when I was a kid. But so just for the purposes of the conversation, there's like a thread in it I just need to separate in order for it to make sense for me. So the thing about it is, no, you don't have to, like, we don't have to know you as a battle rapper to like be respected as an MC. But I because we know and understand that just in the title of music, or in the prefix of music is muse. Like, you need a muse though. Like, you need something that you can pull from that helps fuel the creativity. Sometimes it's a thing, sometimes it's another person, sometimes it's the competitive nature in another person. You know what I'm saying? But like, you do need a muse of some sort in order for it to count. That's what, music.
Okay.
So, but I think that in the competitive side of it, I do think it's important. I think there's because that's how you find out, like, if what you feel you put into it is as strong as you believe it to be. Like, yes, it can be, well, this is good, and I just like to listen to it. But sometimes, like, I want to know, like, if what I'm hearing in you is as true as you're making it sound. And I'll bring it to a close on this. In 2022, I have a homie. She's a professor at North Carolina A&T. I went to her class, her English class, to go and do a lecture about hip hop, about this exact subject. Do you need opposition in hip hop in order to be loved and respected? My example was, or one of my examples was, I know you guys probably don't listen to like Little Durk. All right. But
From
Little
Chicago?
Durk, you're right. I don't know if you guys like him or not, but I do. But
Free Durk.
No doubt, Free Durk. But realistically, Little Durk's music is all of drill music is based on listening to this and then going to ride and look for your enemy and destroy them. Period. That's all it's about.
And then
all right? Now, mind you, we know and understand that it's not as if like that didn't exist before. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mobb Deep gave us a classic album called Murder Music. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as if like this is a new thing, right? But I was explaining to the class how crazy it was that he could put out an album called Love Songs for the Streets, and yet that whole album was about sliding on your ops.
Yeah.
The title itself suggests something different from the actual music itself. And so I'm saying it to say that he wouldn't be as successful as he was if competitive nature or having opposition in this didn't matter. Even though we might say as artists, well, I don't feel like in order for you to be one of my favorite artists, you have to do that. Yeah, that's true. But the masses, for whatever reason, have always appreciated it. This is why when you go to classic hip hop battles like KRS-One and MC Chan, when you go to Nas and Jay, when you go to 50 Cent and Ja Rule, when you go to Drake and Kendrick, it matters.
Yeah.
It definitely matters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'll bring it to a close with, then you take J. Cole. I love J. Cole as a lyricist. He's always been one of the dopest. But realistically, I realized that the moment he dropped the ball, I didn't care about him in my playlist no more.
I don't even go back. I can't do it, man. I just can't do it no more.
I love him though.
It hit different. I can't listen to it
no
more.
doubt. I love him. But that's just what's real.
Greybeard, we're going to come to you, and then we're going to roll into the last few segments of this episode. Greybeard, if you chilling in the green room with Will Smith and Heavy D, talk to me. Hats off, salute, or you like, yeah, you cats, but you know, y'all soft.
Heavy D, most definitely. That dude's hard as fuck.
Thank you.
Will
Thank
Smith.
you for saying he hard. That's my G. You can't disrespect the legendary. Come on, man.
I love Heavy D.
Will Smith's early shit is off the chain as well, but you know he kind of went to Hollywood and got all fucking weird. I don't know what that's all about. You know? Like, so maybe we got to check him a little bit on that. But I mean, respect though. I mean, I'm not gonna talk shit to Will Smith. You know, like
right.
I don't know, man. Like I respect him most definitely. I mean, he definitely contributed to the culture and shit.
J. Cole.
J. Cole, I mean, you know, he dropped. And you know, I think he'll have to do something great to get back to where he was.
I agree with that. It just don't work for me anymore. All right, so cool. All right, so we're gonna roll into our last couple of segments. Gems, you should know, then we're gonna get out of here. Gems, I have a question for each one of you. What gem would you drop on the younger you? What gem would you drop on the younger you who was just getting started on this journey? Ryan, how about you?
Not that I would necessarily need to be reminded of it, but just to not be, you know, because, you know, you can be on a path and be swayed. I think mine would just be like remembering the power in the words, like the importance in the words, like what you're doing with them, like what purpose they serve. My one of my best friends in the world did 26 years for, you know, for taking somebody's life. And when he tells the story, it always messes me up because of the power in words. Long story short, he was with somebody in the car. That person was explaining to him a problem. He's trying to work out how they could get around whatever it is. He says that they're in the car listening to Mobb Deep. The song G.O.D. Part 3 comes on. I don't know if you brothers are familiar. Very quickly, there's an intro to the song. They're standing around and they're talking about getting ready to shoot somebody out of a window. And then you hear a gun go off and empty a clip. My man say he's in the car and he's trying to figure out a way to get around what's happening. And as soon as that happened, the influence had already set in. And the last thing he heard getting out the car was the conversation after the gun goes off in the intro. And then my man catches the unaliving right after that. So it's about the power in the words. Power in the words.
Power in the words, no doubt. A very good life lesson in general, not just in hip hop, but in general. Greybeard, what gem would you drop on the 15-year-old Greybeard?
I would tell that motherfucker uh, like no one's gonna give you shit. You better jump up and get it. Like no one owes you shit. You know, like just because you're a rapper or whatever, like no one's gonna come knocking on your door with money. So you better get up and go get it.
Did you
know,
go
like,
through a phase like that?
oh man, I thought I was the hottest shit in the world, bro. Like, and that's the thing. Like when I was younger, like you show up to a show, you do your little rap and you bounce. Like I would never do that anymore. Like I hang out to the end, man, because once the music is over, that's when the real fucking like connections happen, and like that's how you connect with people. And like I would never just like bounce anymore. Like that's that's the advice I would give myself. Like get up and get it, and connections are everything, man, especially in music.
Nice. 3-2. What advice are you gonna give the 15-year-old 3-2?
Be persistent and don't take no for an answer so easily.
Okay. Did you go through that?
Yeah, I still do to this day sometimes. Like, I'm a very passive person. And if I see that somebody's like not trying to fuck with me or whatever, then I'm like, cool, all right, good. And like if I reach out for somebody for a show or for an opportunity and they're like, oh nah, then I just take no for an answer and I keep it pushing or whatever. Sometimes I'll let that even deter me from trying again with that person or that venue or that opportunity in the future or what have you. And so I just automatically in my brain lock that off as a done deal, something that I don't have access to and won't have access to. And so I feel like that has hindered me in a lot of times from getting further and having more opportunities, because I see people just like break down people's doors a lot. And if they say no the first time, cool, well, I'm gonna hit you up next week, and then I'm gonna hit you up next week, and then I'm gonna hit you up next week until you finally give me a yes. And that's something that like just it's so counter to how I was just raised to be in general, outside of music, but just in general, of just like if somebody says no, leave them the fuck alone. And so that's kind of the approach I took to everything. So sometimes I wish that I could have compartmentalized those two things and been more persistent and more of a go-getter when it came to music and seeking out opportunities for me to grow my own music versus just being so docile, I guess you could call it.
So this is a vulgar analogy of what you're talking about. Rosebud, y'all know the pimp Rosebud?
No.
From American Pimp, that movie. Anyway, Rosebud, he said, this is some pimp link. This is some pimp stuff. He says, you don't create a hoe, you locate a hoe. Meaning, he's like, I just go around like, yo, you want to be my hoe? No, I just keep on moving. He's like, I love hearing the no, because I'm just knocking out my no's till I get to my yes. He's like, I don't create hoes, I just locate hoes. And the way I locate them, I just go ask them, do you want to be a hoe? And they say no, and I keep on moving. So, J.EX, for you, what advice would you give the 15-year-old you?
Start looking up more things online, because at 15, I was 2008. I was writing a lot of music, like in bars especially. I was just writing, but I remember my first time remembering a verse that I wanted to spit for somebody, but I always read it in front of people off the paper, so it was corny. So I remember having to remember it, and I just never took that seriously because of my laziness on it. So I think that would be my advice on that. And to keep going, just keep going, because I wasn't all that, but I have certain things here and there that'll make ooh. That'll keep me going. But then people be like, yo, shut the fuck up, because I'd always keep rapping. And you suck. You should quit.
Right.
I'm like 15. I'm like, damn. Yeah.
Perseverance. And stop being lazy.
But that's teenagers. I battle in the middle of the hallway and stuff, But yeah, my younger self would say that. Now I feel like at 18, when I was like an adult and outside, able to be around people and people to hear me, I think I would tell just, get on your shit, young buck, because you got a lot of potential and you need to hone that skill into, and not just rap, but life. Because I was wild. I didn't think I should have took hip hop serious.
Take it seriously and persevere. That's good advice too. Quick question for the whole panel. Jim, this is a random thing that happened on a project I was doing a long time ago. Did not know what I was doing. I was trying to get this cat to rap on this project, and he was like, "Yo, what kind of microphone do you use?" I was like, "Beats me. I don't have a clue." And ever since then, I've been like obsessed with the types of mics that MCs use. So just go around the panel. What's the best mic for home recording? 3, 2.
I couldn't even tell you. I haven't been home recording until just recently.
Okay.
Usually I make the beats at home and then I go to a studio because I'm like, that is such a fine-tuned detail for somebody to be able to mix vocals. And I just never had the time to figure it out. And so I was like, I trust somebody else who's studied this and whose job it is to do this better than I trust myself. So I would always rock the beats and then get those settled and go to a studio to record my vocals.
Do you care about the microphone that's in the studio?
Not currently, no.
Okay. J.EX.
As long as it sounds good to me.
Got you. J.EX, what's the best mic?
I don't know. I'm not the person to look into that. When I do my home recordings, they're on the iPhone headphones and they on Band Lab. You feel me? I really go in the studio more now to get it recorded. So I trust my engineer into what I've heard him do, and then seeing his setup to know, okay, this is gonna be all right. Let me just see how he can mix mine, because it's really all on the mixing. The microphone on the home recording level, I'll get to that soon because I'm working on that.
Ryan, do you got a preference on microphones?
I don't really, but I can say that next time we had this conversation, I could tell you. I mean, because I don't really home record. I have places I like to go, but I have one in particular place that I like to go the most, and so I can find out what that might is.
So Greybeard, if you don't got one, I'm just going to delete this whole question. Greybeard, do you have a mic for? Can you recommend a mic for home recording?
I got like a $100 mic, man. I always, as long as it comes through clear, we can fix a lot of shit in the mix.
That's what I thought back then, and he was like, "Nah, I need to know what kind of mic." Maybe he just
Bougie.
Maybe he just contaminated me.
Well, I mean, if I could say what it's kind of like, I think it might be one of those things where once you know better, then it's a thing to you. But for people who don't know better, it's not. Similar to, like, for example, if you're a chef, if you go into a restaurant, you don't care what type of knife the chef was using to cut your steak, but the chef knows and cares about what kind of knife they use to cut your steak. And so every chef may have a type of knife that they prefer, but when it comes to the consumer, if they can't tell, they really don't care.
He totally caught me off guard. I was like, I don't have a clue. And then ever since then, I've felt like self-conscious about, like, well, what kind of mic should I have been providing, cats and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, all right.
3-2, that was a phenomenal analogy, by the way. That was a phenomenal fucking analogy. Word.
All right.
You got to use a serrated knife for the bread. You can't use a
last segment, then we're going to get out of here, everybody. I appreciate y'all time. Oh, before we do this last segment, go around, let's give out contact information, socials. Greybeard, and I will put links to everybody's link tree in the notes in the description on this podcast. But Greybeard, where can they hit you up?
Find me on Instagram at Greybeard_Denver. You can pretty much link to everything from there. I also have a website, greybeardhiphop.com, which has all my show dates and all that shit. So
dope.
That's about it.
Ryan?
IG Brian _ the word or _2. My link is in the bio, link tree. If you DM me, I hit back. I'm also on TikTok. On any platform you listen to music on, Ryan Adeuce. My website's also ryanadeuce.com. Keep up with the music, keep up with the show.
Dope. J.EX 3-2, same as usual?
Yep, same as usual.
Same. And I'm on DSPs right now, too. So you could catch me on Spotify, iTunes, all DSPs that are distributed through my distribution. You're right.
All right, cool. Last segment, then we're going to get out of here. You should know. Hit me with something I should know about hip hop. 3-2.
I just came upon this, you should know, yesterday, and I thought it was pretty dope. So the basketball player Chris Webber,
Yeah.
yeah. So I did not know, but like I knew that he dabbled in MCing a little bit, but I didn't know that he produced also.
Oh.
And so I was watching this. I saw this reel where he was talking about how he made this beat for Nas on his greatest hits album for the song "Surviving the Times," where he sampled Nipsey Russell's song from The Wiz into the beat, and he was just talking about how he kicked that for Nas and it ended up on the album. And that's the second beat that he produced for Nas. And I remember hearing that song and being like, yeah, Chris Webber, the basketball player. I was like, what? And
That's
yeah, so I just thought that was a dope little like there's all these little, from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s even, there's all these little like stories from behind the scenes that you didn't know. You don't know what people are associated with people or with other people, and who's contributed to albums in minor ways that you had no idea. People that you didn't even know were into hip hop, and they laid tracks down for certain artists or had an alternate producer name that they did so that they could go under the radar and do music for other people. It's all just like super dope when you hear all these stories come out. So I just thought that was a dope tidbit.
That is dope. That is dope. J.EX, what should I know?
Styles P and Big L had a battle, and I heard Styles won.
What?
That's all.
Beat Big L?
Yeah.
Big L, Nas was shook with Big L. Big L had Nas shook.
Okay, I heard this actually from somebody who knows Styles, like who's close to Styles, one of my OGs. So he told me about the story. I think it's about a studio session in Manhattan. And it came through, and it was just a bad. They went back and forth.
Yeah.
And it wasn't no dissing. It was just a back and forth with who had the best bars.
Big L, man,
Styles had
loss.
Yeah, Big L, yeah. Rest in peace to Big L. Bloodshed, all them, hell yeah.
Ryan, what should I know about hip hop?
Growth in music is important. I was having a conversation with somebody recently about like that specific thing. And so we were talking about Michael Jackson, and I was pointing out the fact that Michael Jackson, and this is overall, and it comes right back to Nas, but Michael Jackson is the first artist that his entire life is pretty much on record. You could never see Michael Jackson and listen to him grow up and then pass from the age of 5 to the age of 51. You could never see a piece of footage, none of that, and listen to him grow and pass. Voice change, all that.
Wow.
Nas, 18 years old, gave us the first most classic piece of hip-hop that hip-hop has probably ever gotten because it came from the youngest person. So you have to think of the fact that at 18 years old, Illmatic comes out, but he had to been writing it before that. Here he is in 2024 in his 50s. He's still the #1 touring artist, and his discography has showed not only can you continue to tell stories that are relevant, but this is what it means to grow as an artist and a storyteller within the community and the culture of hip-hop.
It's like 3-2 was talking about subject matter. That's a lot of years of subject matter. You can't retread the same stuff and have that longevity.
Absolutely.
Dope. Greybeard, what should I know about hip hop?
Damn, that's a hard one. I would say that this shit is endless. Like there's no end to this. As long as people care about hip hop, we're gonna keep doing it. So like there's 7 notes, and it's endless. Like Gloomy Sunday, I know his mom, and his mom asked me one time, like, aren't you gonna run out of words to say? That kind of fucked me up for like a week. I was like, damn, like maybe I'll reach the end of this sometime. And then it just came to the realization, like, nah, man, like I'm going to say words over and like, repeat myself a little bit, but like, there's always like a little something you could change the flavor or change the cadence or like, so it's like, it's just endless, man. And like, I hope to never stop learning more shit about hip hop, like there's so much I don't know,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like it's that analogy, the 7 notes, and you can make endless amounts of music with just, that simple, limited list of ingredients. Great analogy. So here's my you should know. Missy Elliott. In my opinion, might be the best MC ever. But, you know, we could argue, blah, 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 blah. But never caught an L. 6 studio albums. Every last one of them went platinum. Never caught an L. She is, like, if you go look at the list of rap artists who have the most platinum selling LPs, right? You'll start with Jay-Z and then you get into the Drakes and the this and that. But the only woman in the top 10, pretty sure, Nicki Minaj has 5 studio LPs and all 5 of them have gone platinum. But Missy dropped 6 LPs. She ain't dropped the album since 2025 or something, or 2005. 6 LPs, all platinum, never caught an L. In my opinion, she might be the GOAT, y'all. But anyway, that's my You Should Know for today.
Jordan Kobe.
Jordan Kobe, yeah. Listen, for real, next episode, you guys may or may not be joining us for the next episode, but on the next episode, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the how of MCing. The subject matter is, I had it right here. My bad. Yeah, we're going to look at the skills needed for a hip-hop competition. Like when you get into a hip-hop competition, they're going to judge you on presence, delivery, relevance, crowd control, bar structure, diction, rhyme schemes, and wit. So we're going to look at those different categories in the next episode. Again, maybe y'all can get down, maybe you can't. You know, that's a discussion for later. But I do want to thank y'all for getting down today, man. It means the world to me. This is one of the things I enjoy most in the world, is to wake up and talk about hip hop with other people who love it as much as I do. So appreciate y'all for getting down. And I think that is it. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.